Hey, hello, happy Sunday. Well, I'm filming this on Sunday, August 21st. Timestamps will be below in the description if you're watching on YouTube, so these are timeless readings for you when you see them. There's a collective reading that would also be for you, and then whatever your zodiac element is, sun, moon, and rising, those readings will be for you as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the live. Good to see you, Marina. How's it going? Ooh, all right, good to be here. I might turn an additional light on, so that we have a little, I know this looks fine, but, well, would it be for me to turn the other light on? Hey, I'm gonna go turn another light on so the lighting's just a little bit better, and I'll be right back. Okay, hello, I'm back. I hope you liked my wall. It's nice. Well, not my wall, it's a wall. Hey, Devin Collins, how's it going? So, we are going to be doing just what we've been doing the past couple months here. And they want me to just chat with you guys for a second, but we have the collective readings. We have the fire signs, earth signs, air signs, water signs readings, and then we'll do probably a full channel. Well, we'll do I'll directly channel my spirit guides, angels, and source at the end for you guys as well, is the plan. And they just want me to delve into the collective readings. So hello to everybody. Hello to anyone I did not quite catch in the chat, but I really appreciate getting to do this for you guys. It always means a lot, and I just am absolutely setting the intention that this is the highest and best it can be for all of you who tune in, who stay tuned, and that the highest and best transpires. So, fully fly is good. Oh, my light's flickering. So, collective reading, and give me 1 second here, I need to do 1 second. I need to do one thing. I need to flip, unmirror this, and put my little sign on the wall. So, when I'm editing, I can, and so you guys know what's going on. So, collective reading. AXXT. So, we're going to delve into the collective reading, and this is, again, if you're watching this on YouTube after this TikTok live, this is timeless for you when you see it. And the theme I had for these readings was like, pretty much like, what will it take to improve your life? What is coming to improve your life? And then just what else would be highest and best for you to know, or what else would be highest and best to come through. So kind of a loose theme of what it will take to improve your life. Collectively, interestingly enough, the first thing they had me start off with was the question of like, what is coming to improve your life? And what I'm getting for everyone here that's going to help improve your life is a lot of change, new beginnings, new ways of looking at things, was kind of like the broader thing for everyone that's tuning in for this collective reading that's coming to improve your life. And I want to see if there's anything else they want to, there were more messages as well that we'll get to, but I want to see if there's anything else they want to bring through now here. It definitely like more magic and realizing who you are. Like unicorn is like they're showing me a unicorn. They're showing me like the words like you realizing who you are. They also showed me like actually they showed me something else, but they want me to save that for later in like a couple messages. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket until they want me to bring that out for you guys as well. There's definitely a level up coming for a lot of you. And like, I get this weird message, like, some of you think you're in like the beginning stages of something, but you're actually much more closer to mastery than you realize. I want to get a little bit more clarity on what that means. So give me 1 second to get the full message on that. Fully, if that is good. Like, it's really weird. It's like they're just giving me this message, and I might just move on if they don't clarify it too much more. It's like you might think you're at the beginning of something, but it's like you're actually at the tail end of something, and there's something just like entirely new for you. I want to see if they'll give me a better example. So fully for that's good here. It's like maybe you just started an entirely new job, but you're actually about to get a promotion is like an example they're showing me. Like it's just this quick like level up almost, or this quick like change where it's like you think you're at the beginning, but you're just at the end, but it's like a good thing if that makes sense. So I'm just going to move on. One thing they did show me as well was like a fire flower from Super Mario, if anyone's familiar with that. And it's like some of you might think like you're as like far or as like big as you can go in some ways. And like, you know, in Mario, like he starts out, I'm thinking like the original Super Mario, he starts out small and then like he gets the mushroom and he gets like bigger, then he gets the fire flower and there's like more to it. Like he has this other level that he kind of unlocks. And it's like kind of like the same for you guys. Like you think you're as far as you can go, but you're just like mushroom giant Mario. Like there's still a fire flower like you can level up to, and it's not like you're limited and can't move up after that, but it's just like there's more to your circumstances and like what's coming in for you than like you even think is possible for many of you, but like in a good way. It's like there's this added bonus or like twist, like the fire flower Mario can shoot fireballs instead of just being giant, which is interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next message. They just, for the collective, what will it take to improve your life? So effort in releasing and also acceptance will help you improve your life. So taking a moment to be still each day will lead to acceptance. So I would just say taking a moment to be still each day, even if it's like 5 minutes, is going to just help like certain like dots connect in your life. They're showing me like brain synapses like connecting more, or like you'll just realize more and be able to take like better action in your life. But also like asking to release will lead to release. So if you feel stuck or stagnant, book a session with someone that can help you release, like not like necessarily a reading, but like a healing session like Reiki, or even like a massage session is something, a massage appointment, I guess you could say, would be two things they recommended for some reason. So if you are willing to release, you will be able to bring in new and better. Holding on to things is not going to improve your life necessarily. Hold things loosely and let things shift as they will. If you are willing to let go, life will improve. So I know it seems like that's one of the things that's going to help you right now is like just release in general. And I'm kind of getting like everyone needs it, whether it's releasing energies, releasing like someone or something. And that's not for all of you, by the way. Not all of you need to release someone necessarily, but something or some energy. Yes. But if you're willing to show up for yourself and release and do the work to release, it's going to open up doorways to new energy, new opportunity, victory, and so many of the things you want. And like some of you are just staying stuck because you think you need to cling to an idea or like even an idea of how things work or a way your life is working. But if you were willing to let go of that, like all these new higher ways of doing things would show up as something. And they're showing me this example like with football. Like it's a weird message, but I'll just roll with the example. They're like, maybe you have this like favorite play in like football, if you were metaphorically a football coach and you love this, and I'm talking American football, excuse me for the I know football means like what Americans call soccer internationally, but in American football, like maybe you have this one play that you love to run and it's like this running play, and you think it's your jam, and it always works sort of, but then like maybe one of your players is like, so like why don't we try like working on the passing game? And like as a coach, you're like, no, I love these running plays or whatever. But it's like if you open up like and let go a little bit and open up to like this other suggestion or this other way of doing things, like things just become more multidimensional and like easier for the team to move the ball down the field and then you score more. It's a really simple example. And like some of you might think there's only like one way to do things in your life, but there's not. There's like a lot of ways that could work. And so the universe is trying to bring in those new ways, if that makes sense. It's like one way the universe is trying to improve your life. So I want to see if there are any other direct messages for you fully for That's Good that would help you just improve your life at this time here. It's going to sound a little simple, but healing is the other word that they really come to. And there's more specific messages for each of you as well. And like the elemental readings, I guess, not elemental, but like fire signs or signs, water signs. And it kind of goes back to release as well. And like, you know, release can tie into healing sometimes. But they're showing me like a weird example that's kind of specific, like healing the brain and cognitive function. I feel like that's for most of you, not necessarily all of you, but like if you're looking at ways to defog your brain, like ways to gain clarity in that way, and ways to like heal your like, for some of you like mental status is something I'm hearing, whether even if it's just as simple as meditation or something like that, that's going to clear a lot of things up for you as well, interestingly enough. So opening to healing in whatever form it needs to take is going to lead to like drastic improvements and like quicker than you would think as well. Like if you took a month to heal or move towards that and like open to that and like book a healing session with a respected person in your area or whoever, whatever practitioners you gravitate towards, I feel like things are going to move quickly and like open up quickly. And again, release leads to improvement right now is what I'd say. So the other thing about the release, as they were saying, like it helps for you guys to be willing to change, for things to change, because things changing will change them, and them changing will open the door for things to change. So, so actually it wasn't about release. It was actually a different message. I just got it a little bit mixed up when I was reading it. The message that came through for you guys is like, if you're willing to change, so like another thing that would help you improve your life is being willing to change, which is kind of what I've been saying in a roundabout way a little bit here. Like if you're willing to change and willing for things to change, it's like, it just opens the doorways for things to change and improve, essentially. And a lot of you are holding yourselves back from change is something I'm hearing. I think most of you actually realize that when I say that. If you're willing to let that go and let things shift, you'll be really surprised is something I'm hearing as well. They're showing me pentacles. They're giving me this message about more money coming in. So let me see what that's about here. They're saying like change leads to more money, whether it's like a job change or even like changes within yourself that help you open up to new opportunity. That's another message I'm getting. The other thing they want me to bring through for you guys is like, they showed me a goat, but it was like a mountain goat. And it was, how mountain goats can just like balance on like a brick wall essentially, but they said like internal balance, external issues. Okay, I remember now. So they showed me a visual with this goat and this mountain goat standing on like a wall or a mountain. And this goat said like internal balance, external issues dissolve. And the knowing I got with that message and like what it meant was like, if you bring yourself to internal balance, external issues around you in your life are going to dissolve like rather quickly. The other thing goat was showing me was like charging forward and taking action will change things. Don't wait for change, go make things happen. And you know what? Sometimes change can happen all on its own, or you do like a certain amount of inner healing or realization or change your frequency and then everything changes. There's multiple ways for change to happen, but this goat is also encouraging you to take action and see what transpires as a result of that. But there is more with goat, so they want me to go back and get more messages. Fully for that is good with goat here. Something as simple even as just like balancing your chakras and balancing your energy fields is going to help like just lead to more balance externally as well. I think I talk about that sometimes, but it's just the message they wanted me to bring through and help clarify more on goat here as far as like what internal balance means. But they're just giving this message. This goat keeps repeating like balance, complete balance internally leads to dissolution of like a lot of your issues in the external reality, if not, if not all of them, but a lot of them essentially. So as far as like moving into just messages that are for the collective, as far as like what came through for you guys, overhaul and overcoming. So new is on the way. Even if it's been said for some time, there's a lot of overhaul coming to you on the inside and things are going to be rearranging inside. This is just cleaning you up for the next phase. The end of this year is a big cleanup phase for you guys, in addition to the other good things coming in. Things are going to be cleaned up. So there's a lot of like internal cleaning going on to improve you, and it's just showing like in your thoughts, like the ways you're looking at the world, like the universe is leading you through it. You might even be like cleaned of things externally is something they're showing me regarding this as well. But there's kind of a big cleanup starting to happen for the next year. And they're saying like 2023 is a big one. So I feel like we've been through a lot of big ones recently. But they're like 2022 was just the prep. So, and I'm not saying 2022 hasn't seen big things happen for you or anything like that, but for a lot of you, this is the cleanup phase that's leading you to a bigger 2023. Doesn't mean good things won't come in right now, but that's just a message that they're bringing through right now as I'm going through this. Would it be... They just love to bring giraffe through in these readings, and the message sometimes is similar to what it usually is, sometimes it's way different. This time, for some reason, they said giraffe, but the message that came through was like clearance. And it was more like, I know sometimes we talk about like obstacles being removed from your path, but it's more like obstacles are being removed from you, like from your brain, from your patterns, from... things that you hold on to that are actually obstacles is something they're showing. But like, especially like thoughts that have been hindering you, things in the way of you moving forward, it's just time for clearance. And that's kind of what we just talked about anyways with like the last message, where there's just this rearrangement kind of happening. Whale spirit animal showed up for you guys. Whale has been wanting to jump through the past couple days, I've noticed, for some of the readings I've been doing. And the message that came through was overcoming through persistence. It's an important time to persist. This is not necessarily a time to lay low for most of you. Whale spirit animal is helping you persist through your endeavors. Definitely not the normal message I get with whale spirit animal, but it's what came through. So I'm just gonna roll with it and just trust that that's the message that you need, or that most of you need at this time. So anything else with whale spirit animal fully for that is good here. So this message they're showing me for you, this whale spirit animal, it's not literally like whale spirit animal forgot how big it is, but in this message, in this metaphor, whale forgot how big it is. Like it's bigger than like all these boats, it's bigger than all these creatures in the sea, but it kind of reminds me of like a giant dog that thinks it's a lap dog, like a Great Dane that like forgets it's like, you know, twice the size of its owner or something like that. So what whale needs to do is like remember like what it truly is and what it's truly capable of. And suddenly all these possibilities open up, because it's not just a small fish in the ocean, it's a mother effing whale. It's you know, it could create waves that overturn certain boats. It could crush a ship if it needed to. Not that whale's out here for blood or anything. You know, but that's just kind of the message that is for you, is like some of you, or maybe even most of you, forgotten like how big you really are, like what you're capable of. So it's time to get in tune with like your actual size in life, and not physically, by the way, necessarily, more like energetically, more like what's your true potency in life with manifestation, with what you can do with energy work, with what you can do with your voice and your words, and what you can create on earth. I guess you could say it's time to get in touch with your potency. So anything else here with whale spirit animal? They want me to move to the next message. They did just show me a needle with like a, you know how needles have the eye, is it called? So let me see what the message is with that here. They're just showing like you might think certain things are impossible, like threading a needle, but it's like life is going to be threading like 1,000 needles for you at once. It was like this really weird visual of just like a bajillion needles and like this thread being thread through like all of them in this like weird winding like pattern. So for some of you might think certain things are impossible for you, but they're not, especially like regarding success, regarding like what you're capable of, regarding what you're here to do even. So where you think certain things are impossible, the universe is going to be threading 1,000 needles to show you what you're capable of, and just to even like get you out of certain things you might feel stuck in or might be stuck in is something I'm getting as well. So I'd say one of the messages coming through is about miracles as well. So next message I have here, peach blossoming, but it's an internal blossom, a lot of hope and realizations, new beginnings. This is a time for realizations and new beginnings that spring from them. The universe is picking you, and by picking you, it meant like picking a peach from a tree, if that makes sense. But the universe is picking you. They gave me the word ripe, and they said, and putting you where you belong. Some of you are being redirected, if not a lot of you. Okay, here's what they said. You are being redirected, most of you, not all. You might think you belong on the peach tree, metaphorically, but you belong in the market. You belong wherever you need to go. It's time for change. And they kind of showed me this metaphor of like, you know, a peach on a peach tree. I realized that this is not a literal metaphor, but if you were on a tree your whole life, you might think, I belong in this tree. But it's like the peach actually belongs wherever it needs to go, whether that's falling from the tree and, you know, I was going to say a rabbit eats it, but I don't think rabbits eat peaches, but one of you rabbit lovers can correct me on that. But something happens there, and then the seed goes in the earth and is supposed to become another peach tree, or is supposed to go to market and feed, you know, someone who has a big purpose in life, and that peach is part of their sustenance or something like that. And I'm not saying you're meant to be sold in the market or that you're meant to be eaten or anything weird or literal like that. It's more like, just because you've been somewhere your whole life doesn't mean that's where you belong. And I suppose you could take that and say, just because you've been a certain way your whole life doesn't mean that's how you are supposed to be going forward, if that makes sense. And much like a dragonfly nymph is like a nymph for like 3 years, and then it like one day it crawls up onto a stem or a leaf and it just turns into a dragonfly in a day, and it's completely different. Like, you're just not always meant to stay the same is kind of the message, and that's part of this message with the internal blossoming, and new beginnings and stuff. So a lot of you are being picked from somewhere you've been for a long time and just being taken somewhere else that you belong, essentially. Well, they didn't like how I said that, so can I get the clarification on that? A lot of you are getting a change from where you've been for a long time, whether it's internally, externally, or something like that. Next message, they showed me a star. They said, being led to better. Everything right now is leading you to better. You might think you are stuck, but that is going away. There's a lot of healing and hope, and the universe is leading you to where you need to go. So just know, like, everything going on right now is leading you to better. And sometimes feeling stuck is protection, by the way. If you feel like you've been stuck for a long time, or you feel like it's difficult to move forward, like sometimes you're just being protected from an inopportune outcome, if that makes sense. Not always, but it's just like a reminder that they want to bring through for some of you right now at this time. And sometimes another just message for someone who needs to hear it is like, you're being kept from being super successful right away because you won't be able to handle it, or able to handle all that comes along with it. And you might think you are, but there's something hidden, there's something you didn't realize you'd have to deal with, or etc. So trust that success will come at the right time if you feel like that's been withheld for you in some way, or people keep getting in the way or something like that. And the universe, I was going to go into a message that they didn't want me to get into. So the next thing I have here, so one second, what else do we get to? Is starfish. They just said rapid healing imminent, but with ease and grace and upliftment. A quick healing is coming in for most of you, so you'll be letting go of something you thought you never could have. That's for a lot of you. They're like, yes, that's for a lot of them. So, but you doing this allows you to transcend. So be open to healing. It won't be painful. Healing allows you to thrive. And some of you are realizing the purpose of healing. It's not always about healing, and going on this like healing marathon and like never getting to settle and enjoy life. It's like, it serves a purpose. They want me to tell this story as well. Give me 1 second on how they want me to tell the story. I have a friend who was talking about shadow work. And she was talking about people who always do shadow work. And she was channeling this message. It wasn't just her necessarily, but she's like, some people who are like always focused on shadow work are just miserable because like they just keep digging into the thing. But the purpose of shadow work is to get to a good place. It's not to always be in shadow work. So the purpose of healing is to get to a good place. It's to get to thriving. It's not to stay stuck in healing and think you always need to heal and something's wrong with you. So let me get this message fully. See like healing as a purpose that leads to something, not something that's the end. It's like a bridge that gets you to the other side. It's not necessarily a way of being, is something I'm getting as well. So it's always good to have that ability to heal. And even if you're someone who's like always healing, or you've been told a message like you're always healing, it doesn't mean you're being in like healing crises all the time and like stuck in the shadow all the time. It's more just like you have the ability to turn the healing on whenever you need, or like it's I guess you could say it reminds me like Wolverine, if you guys are familiar with the superhero Wolverine, where it's like if he gets injured, it just heals right away. It's like that healing factor is always like ready and like going. That's a bit more apt, I suppose you could say. So that's just a message coming through. So there's one more thing they want to get to. They're showing me a brownie. So what's up with like, like the dessert. So what's up with brownies here? They're just saying like life is going to get sweet. But they're also giving me this, they're saying like not everything that goes into something that's sweet is sweet, if that makes sense. Like for instance, brownies are sweet typically, but they also have like flour, and if you just ate flour by itself, it wouldn't be sweet. And sometimes even like cacao or like the chocolate isn't even like sweet. I think for brownies that you typically make today, it's sweet. But if you've ever had like cacao nibs or anything like that, it's not exactly like a sweet thing, or like dark chocolate isn't always like sweet, if that makes sense. But it goes into something that is sweet. And so where are we going with this message? Hopefully if that's good here. There might be ingredients in your life metaphorically that seem like bitter or sour, or like you're like, why is that there? But when you put it into the concoction of your overall life and the experiences that follow, it leads to a sweetness that's never been there before. So a lot of you are headed towards something sweet and like just a more sweet note or time in your life or experience. Even if things right now seem sour or bitter, is something I'm getting as well. It's like part of the ingredients of life that lead to sweetness. If you're willing to open to the rest of it, following an experience that's bitter, if that makes sense. Okay, that's it as far as what I have for just the collective messages for everyone here. I hope that all just resonated and makes sense. And there's one thing more they want to bring through before I move on to the specific like elements, and it'll be sun, moon, rising. We'll get into that in a second. And they're showing me a snail here. And it's for a lot of you, I would go slow for a certain extent. Not always what everyone wants to hear. But it's just not a good time to rush right now. There's just like a lot changing externally or under the surface. And if you're like rushing, you might skip a few steps that you like need like for success. Like if you're building a business and you're just like rushing to put everything together, it's like, if you were just to take things a little bit slower, like you'll just have more ideas, you'll allow things to, ruminate's not the right word, but it's kind of like wine when you want wine to like sit and breathe, and then the wine gets a lot better as it like oxidizes, is that right? Sits and breathes. Essentially, it's kind of like that. You want things to marinate a little bit more as you're like kind of methodically moving forward at a decent, but maybe not like rushed pace. And things like will fall together perfectly if you're taking your time, as opposed to like, oh, I need to get this together or else. And then like you build a business, but it's like you forgot the marketing. Or it's like you build a business, but it's like you forgot to put a homepage on your website or something silly like that is like the examples they're giving me. So I would take your time with things and just let things germinate. I don't think is the right word, but marinate, I'll say. Okay, so we are going to move to the fire signs. Aerate, thanks, Rue. We're going to move to the fire signs, sun, moon, or rising. So, whoop, I love this sign system. It makes things so easier. So, fire signs, hello. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you. Well, if you're here live with me on TikTok, it's for you when you see it, of course. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's for you when you see it, whenever you watch this reading, essentially. So if you have a sun, moon, or rising, that's a Leo, a Sagittarius, or an Aries. This is a reading that's for you when you see it. So the theme, of course, is what will it take to improve your life? And then there were some other messages that came through as well. So they kind of carried the mountain goat over from the collective reading to the fire signs reading. And so one of the things that will improve and there's other messages as well, don't worry, balance is going to help improve your life, and not taking no for an answer. And let me clarify what that means, because I don't mean that in like a weird, like, you know, if someone turns you down for a date, like maybe it's better to take no for an answer as an example. But the message that they meant for don't take no for an answer was like persist, like keep moving forward. Don't take a no from the universe as meaning your dreams won't come true, but rather as a minor redirection or something teaching you a lesson so you can succeed. Sometimes a no is just leading you to a yes. Be stubborn in the best ways is the way they're clarifying that message. So they're showing me a really weird example, because I don't think very many people here want this kind of a job, but they're like, maybe you want a job in an oil field and you go to this one like BP or something, and you're like ask for that job and they're like, no, but maybe Shell will hire you. So like you can accept that no, and you don't have to keep beating down the door of one company, but you're able to go to a similar job somewhere else, and like that's the one for you where you fit in with the culture. So like a ridiculous example, but fit in with the culture and things like that, and like things really go your way. So it's like if you have a dream, no doesn't mean no necessarily. Like maybe you want to be a healer and you like go to this metaphysical shop and you're like, oh, please let me practice out of your shop. Like I do this, this, and this. And they're like, no, sorry, like you're not our type or something. But it's like maybe that metaphysical shop would have had people that are catty, or maybe it's not run as well as like you would need for your business to succeed. So you're able to either start your own thing maybe, or go to a different shop that would really jive with you, if that makes sense. Okay, they're saying you get it, so we're gonna move to the next message here. I didn't really talk about balance too much in this example, so, and they're just saying it's same as the collective reading, just like making sure you have internal balance, that you're staying balanced and centered. Just gonna lead to a lot of things opening up for you and like sprouting. And they're showing me this weird side message where it's just like sometimes there's just like one thing you need to heal inside of yourself, and like everything opens up. And they're giving me like a really weird example. Like maybe you thought everyone was against you, but maybe they just like didn't like the way you smelled, and like you forgot to shower every day. But it's like you figure out that one thing and you start showering, and all of a sudden like people want to be around you. Is like a weird example they're showing me. But I want to see if there's a more apt metaphor for you guys besides just that here. Maybe for instance, I'm not saying this is you, this is an example, you think, or someone thinks everyone is against them. And so like they go into every interaction with this like energy, this like defensiveness and this combativeness, because you think like, oh, this person's going to be against me. And maybe once you heal that, or maybe someone points it out to you and you realize what's going on, all of a sudden like your combativeness leaves, and suddenly like the doors open for friendship and camaraderie and business opportunities, because like people are like, they like being around you. Not that people dislike being around you right now, by the way. I'm sure a lot of you are great. I know a lot of you are great, but that's just an example. Next message that came through for you on like what would improve your life, what will it take to improve your life. So abundance healing, they said abundance healing will help you heal your life. So sometimes healing like one area of your life is just like what you need. It just takes care of like everything or a lot of things. So if you are working on your abundance, everything else will improve. Do one thing a day to improve your abundance, whether it's a meditation, sitting down to manifest, watching videos on abundance, going through a course on abundance, or just saying a prayer for abundance, praying to Ganesha, whatever it is, Ganesha, whatever your thing is. If you're just working on abundance fire signs, things are going to improve for you essentially. And you know what? Sometimes that's just like the one thing that holds us back. There's like one area, and it's like if we work on it, like everything improves. For you guys, I would really highly consider working on your abundance and like healing abundance issues, or going deeper into that. Even if you feel like you're already there, there's like further to go, kind of like that fire, flower, Mario metaphor that came in the collective reading. Where it's just like maybe you think you've gone as far as you can go, but then you get a fire flower, you get this addition to you. The next thing they showed me like grapes, and it was about receiving. They just said, and I'm gonna ask for a more direct message on this than like, I'm gonna try not to leave this amorphous, but ask to be open to receive. Think about what it will take for you to receive. Receiving is gonna help you improve your lives, by the way. Don't push away abundance when it's offered. Receiving will open the doorway to all of your manifestations. When someone compliments you, say thank you. When someone gives you something, say thank you. Don't push it away. So they want you to like practice receiving. There was one second here. And like some of you are afraid of receiving because you're afraid of what people will think of you if you receive a lot. Like if a big manifestation comes in or something like that. But it's really time to open to receiving all that's for you. And you can practice this through like, even if like a cashier hands you change after you pay for something, just be like, look them in the eye and be like, thank you. It sounds really simple. And like, I know you're not like technically receiving this new thing necessarily. It's supposed to be your money, but it's like a way to practice like receiving, I suppose you could say. If someone gives you a compliment, just look them in the eye and be like, take a second, be like, thank you, and like really acknowledge that and like receive that compliment. It's like a way you can practice receiving as well. And I know receiving is like a really interesting concept, and it's kind of amorphous, and I haven't seen a lot of people like really ground it in, and I'm doing my best to help to ground it in, but I think like part of the way to help is setting the intention to receive, or like setting like an intention or prayer to receive at the beginning of the day, and just seeing like what shifts. And that's one of the ways you can deal with some of these like more, I guess you could say, abstract concepts when you're like, what does that even mean? Ask the universe to show you. Be like, okay, this dude on the screen here is saying receiving is going to help my life, but you're like, when I think about it, I'm not even sure what he's talking about. Like, okay, universe, please show me what it will take for me to receive. Show me what he means by receiving. Show me like what the best ways for me to receive are. Thank you so much. And you're like, just like manifesting receiving more. Like you're just letting the universe take care of it in a way. And maybe even taking a small action, like practicing receiving, like I was talking about, is going to help you connect the brain synapse. Not that you're stupid. It's going to help connect the dots for you is the better way to phrase it, where you just like realize what it is and like the energy clicks and all of a sudden you're like open to receiving, if that makes sense. So that I suppose that's one strategy to help with receiving, but also to deal with the concepts that you're like, what does that even mean? And they want me to tell this other story really briefly as well, where it was like one time, like I just kept hearing, there's like these spiritual phrases that people throw out. And like, I suppose a few years ago, like I just kept reading this, like everything is now, everything is now, everything is now, the future is now, the past is now, everything is now. I'm like, what does that even mean? And then when I was like, what does that even mean? Like my guides like jumped in and I felt them jump in and they gave me this like visual that's really difficult to explain, because it was like about the dimensions, but it just showed like, and then like I got the claircognizant like knowing like, oh, everything is now. And I just like, I felt it, I knew it, I saw it. And so like sometimes when you're just like, what does that even mean? Like the universe will like show you either directly or just through other people or through your experiences. Like there's like, they'll just give you the knowing and you can be like, oh, everything is now. So we're going to move on to just the messages that came through for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. You know what? I think I forgot to bring through like what's coming in to improve your life in general, because I did two things. What will it take to improve your life, and what's coming in that will be improvements to your life. So I'm going to go through these and just hopefully they'll add them in as I go. But again, Mountain Goat came through for like your what will it take to improve and for your messages. So Mountain Goat is clearly a sign for you guys right now as well. Fire signs, but liberation, you are being freed from something that has been restricting you. You are being freed from the aspects of your mind that have been holding you back. You are headed towards liberation and freedom from the past. And they also show me like relief, like you'll be relieved about this. Also, your knowing is coming online. So like you're going to be just knowing things more, like kind of like what I just talked about with the with that story. But like you're just going to know things. It's going to be easier to know, like you're going to be led to knowing is something like whether it's intuitively channeled, some other method of knowing, like talking to your heart, whatever it is, you will be more in tune, essentially. So some type of like liberation is coming in for you, which will be good. That's an improvement coming in. I feel like this was a theme. This came through a lot for this reading as well, but it was coming through, I think, last week. But truth, you're going to be seeing the truth. Sometimes the truth is not necessarily what you want to see, but trust that your life will improve so much if you're willing to see the truth, even if it's painful or a lot. Truth is the way, essentially. So there's a lot that's going to be unlocking with truth is what I'm getting. So I feel like people are going to be confessing things to you as well, whether it's like a loved one or a relative or people close to you, maybe even like strangers or just something online. Like there's going to be like, they're giving me the word confession, like people confessing something to you, whether it's, and like for some of you, it's like love. For others of you, it's like something that bad they did when they were like 3 or something silly like that. And for others, it's like something unrelated, but that's just a message coming through as well. There is more with truth though. You are also going to be knowing truth more easily, even if you don't want to see it. They're showing me this concept of blinding clarity. And they want me to tell you where it came from. There's this, some of you have heard me talk about this a lot already on the lives, but Lee Harris is a channeler. I like a lot of his work. And one of the themes that's been coming through that his guys have brought through in just like his energy updates and his other channels he's done is like this theme of like blinding clarity, where it's like, it's just like impossible to avoid. And like the example he gave to describe it is like maybe like your car gets in a wreck and like you go outside, like and you're in your patterns, you go outside to go to work, and then like your car is gone from the driveway and you realize like, oh my god, my car is gone, and it's just like this blinding like like just clarity or this moment, if that makes sense. I don't know if that perfectly describes it like all the time. I'm so sorry, Lee. I'm not trying to like rat on your way of describing things, because that literally, that example he gave actually happened to me at the time. I didn't get my car in a wreck, but I sold it. And I didn't have a car for a second when he said that. But that's like an example, I suppose you could say. where you just see something so clearly it's impossible to avoid and just like changes everything. Next message I have here, cleanup, and we kind of talked about it in the collective, but you are being cleaned, your mental and emotional states, even your physical being for some of you. There's a lot of cleaning going on, so know you are being cleaned more thoroughly by the universe. There's a big cleanup happening inside of you so you can be ready for abundance. So especially in your mental space, they're showing me, and sometimes we just have a lot of ideas sold to us in childhood throughout our whole life that don't really serve us, for lack of a better term, what they're showing me is like that teach you how to be a cog in the wheel, a cog in the wheel of society, I guess, or that teach you to appease other people so you can survive, etc. So you're kind of being cleaned of those mindsets so you can strike out on your own for some of you and like be the person you're meant to be, essentially, is what I'm hearing. So there's just a lot of like cleaning happening energetically, internally, in the mental space, so you can be you. Next message, they show me a worm. They just said, don't see yourself as a lowly or unworthy. You are worthy in Source's eyes. You are meant to succeed and trust. And they also said, in addition to that, trust your path. No matter where the path is leading, it will all make sense in a year. So I like that message. Like, you know, maybe you feel like you're on a winding road, or you're like, this is different than I envisioned my life being at this time, or you feel like you're going in a different direction than you thought you would be going in. But in like a year, everything makes sense for you. You're going to be getting that clarity, essentially. And like, they're just giving me this message. Like, some of you just have this like really low sense of self-worth that you just really don't need to have. Like, you're not this like lowly thing. And like, you haven't messed up so badly that you need to see yourself as lowly either. Like, no matter what you've done, like, you're worthy of forgiving yourself and moving past that and creating something abundant and beautiful for yourself and in your life and for others even. You don't have to see yourself as this lowly earthworm and like see everyone else as these tigers that are like majestic and powerful. It's like, you know, you're a big, majestic, powerful creature too, being as well. So just know that is what I'd say. Is there more with worm here? So some of you also just feel like you're digging through the dirt and digging through the mud, and you feel like you're this lowly creature because of what you're going through or what you're healing or what you've done for some of you. But it's actually like the things you're working through. I forgot what they said. So give me one second. Can you repeat? I'm going to ask my guys to repeat that. It's like the things you're actually working through are really important and necessary. And for many of you going through this, it's a big task. And you're kind of getting high praise for that, if that makes sense. It's not like you only get high praise when you're slugging through the dirt and the mud and things like that. Like you can get high praise when things are going smoothly as well. But don't see yourself as lowly because of what you're going through, if that makes sense. So the next, anything else on that here? They are just bringing in a quick message of like, they're showing me ice and they're showing you being taken off ice. It's the way they show this message sometimes. If you felt like frozen or things have been like stagnant, it's like things are going to be moving forward. Like you're being taken off of ice or off of this freeze, essentially. Next message I have here, elevation. The universe is leading you to elevation, a place where you can see clearly and make the best possible choices for you. They just showed you on a mountaintop with like these constellations around you and like these different like directions you could go with that message. You have many choices coming, like who to date, who to be, where to go for many of you, but trust that if you are willing to sit with truth, you will easily make good choices. And many of you are just going to know right away. Like if you're making a choice in love, it'll just like hit you like a ton of bricks. Like you won't even need to think about it. Or if it's about a job, like you'll just know what's going on. So, and I feel like some of this cleanup that we talked about is helping you to lead to this place where you have this elevation and clarity. And the other message I'm getting for you is like to trust what you're getting, not what other people are saying. And you know, of course, some of us have that person in our life. They're always accurate. They're always going to say the accurate thing. That's okay. That's one thing. However, trust yourself and your guidance in addition to that is something I'm hearing. Don't listen to like 20 different people and get confused is another message they're bringing through on that topic as well. So I think like they just bring it through as a joke sometimes at this point. It's like just they say elephant and giraffe like so much. I think I might ask them to switch it up a little bit, but elephant came through, but the message was like no obstacles. Like this is a time of freedom coming in for you if it is not already here. There is a time where obstacles rescind on their own. You are worthy of no obstacles. So There's, okay, if you heard the train, that's confirmation. You are, so pretty much like, I feel like things are just going to be easier. Like you're going to get this time where it's just like there's no obstacles, which will be good. And we all kind of deserve that time to breathe a little bit easier, unless you're really being prepped for something by the universe, and the universe is really squeezing you to heal and transform and become like all you're meant to be. But even once that time period's done, like you get to breathe easier and expand, you know, that's just something that's coming through. So there's one more message for the fire signs. They are showing me a mushroom here, and they're giving me the word interconnectedness, kind of like how mushrooms are interconnected under the surface. Sometimes they're just these gigantic interconnected networks of mushrooms. They're just saying you're more connected than you realize to everything. And some of what you're going through like just isn't even yours, like the energies you're experiencing, the things that are happening in your life. It's like it's more collective, but you beat up on yourself because you think it's like your fault or you caused this, or you're like, I get a little bit in an interesting spot when it comes to the term victim and victim blaming. And maybe I'll get into that at a later time, but like they're kind of giving that word where like maybe you're like beating up on yourself and victim blaming. Not that you're a victim, because I don't want to paint you as a victim either, because that's not a good spot to be. I think we need new words for things, if I'm being completely honest, regarding like victimhood and victim blaming. I think we just need new words that are in between so that we have empowered words and empowered ways of looking at things that are still like accurate and truthful and still allow someone to be going through something, if that makes sense. I think we need a new language or a revamp to the English language. Anyways, just be gentle on yourself. Like not everything you're going through is yours, essentially. And I feel like if you realize that, you can like step out of it more easily, or like step into a better space more easily, because like you won't like cling to it as much as like it's yours and you deserve to go through it because you messed up in 8th grade and you're being punished or something like that. And that might be more like a psychological under the surface thing that's running more than you're cognitively thinking that. But that's just something they're showing me is like something that'll help you, just realizing your connectedness to everything and how that plays into your experience, as opposed to beating yourself up over like every little thing because you yelled at your mom in 7th grade or something. But that's it. That's the reading for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. They just want me to move along. So I hope that was helpful and just made sense. And we are going to move to the next segment, which is the fully flexed earth signs, sun, moon, and rising. So thank you, fire signs. I'm going to move the signs. Okay. Don't worry, guys. It's not the writing on the wall. It's just a sticky note. It's okay. Okay, we're gonna move. So if you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you when you see it. If you're watching this on YouTube Live, of course, it's for you now. If you're watching on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. So the first thing that came through, what will it take to improve your life, earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, is just really to sit with yourself and like meditate, and again, stop rushing. If you are willing to take things slowly, things will improve. So really not rushing is going to help you improve your life. And, you know, sometimes you think you need to have it all like right now, whether it's you need it all figured out right now, or you need like all the puzzle pieces in place right now. It sounds like a Virgo thing. I know this is not just for Virgos, but it's for, you know, Capricorns and the other one. Sometimes when I'm in like channel mode, it just doesn't, and try to do something mental, it doesn't click right now. Capricorn and the other forgotten earth sign, Taurus, sorry. But it's just not a good time to rush, essentially, is what they're saying. And a lot of dots will connect. Again, I feel like this is maybe a common theme right now if you're sitting with yourself and giving things time to percolate, and you'll have like the correct way to move forward instead of like the it's kind of like reminds me of like maybe you're on the highway and you're on such a rush to get somewhere, like you keep driving and you don't look at your GPS at all, and like you miss your exit, and all of a sudden you're like 30 miles from where you need to be, and like you add like 10 minutes on or more onto your time to get somewhere because you just like were like so focused on getting there quickly you didn't even look at the directions. Or it's like building IKEA furniture where it actually took longer to build because you missed this important step and just like tried to figure it out on your own, or like I gotta build this desk right now, and then like you miss like this subtle but important thing in the directions, and then like your table falls apart or whatever, and you have to go back and rebuild it, and it actually takes more time. That's part of the message I have for you right now on how to improve things, is just like being methodical, which sounds like an earth sign thing, and just not rushing. You can still move quickly, but don't act like a rabid animal chomping at the bit to like get something. It's essentially like, just take a second, if that makes sense. Like, you can breathe is what they're saying. The other thing that came through is realize you have what you need. Some of you think everything you need is far away, but it's in you or right next to you, metaphorically. You have what you need. It will be easier to move forward once you realize that. Utilize what you have and you will realize you have all you need. So literally, another thing that will help improve things for you is just utilizing what you have and realizing you have what you need. It sounds really simple, but sometimes a simple answer is a good answer, and sometimes that makes things easier, doesn't it? But that's another thing that would help improve you in your life right now, interestingly enough. So I want to say with any other additional messages that would help you, they're showing me like an oyster. I almost said like cloister, which is like a Pokemon, I think. I don't think that's a real animal, but an oyster. Because they showed me the oyster, and I don't know. Let me see what's up here. So now is not a good time to like clam up and like hide. It's a really good time to face life boldly. So like if a challenge rises, like rise to meet it. Like if a fight happens with like a beloved person in your life, like deal with it right now. Don't like start ignoring texts or something like that. Like if something comes up in business, like answer that email right away. Like don't wait like 2 days and like wonder what you're going to do about it. Cause like it'll probably hit you as you're writing the email. Something they're showing me as an example as well. But not a good time to clam up. Definitely a good time to face things boldly and rise. And that's going to improve a lot of things for you as well. And like another message for you guys is like, well, actually I have it written down here. I was about to say like, it's okay to like, in some ways actually sit pretty right now, because improvement is just coming in automatically. Like you've already done the work, or the universe is just making it happen. So for you, improvement is coming automatically. A lot of you have done the work, improvement is coming. So just know that's happening as well. And the last thing I have here is starfish, and kind of playing off the collective message. I think if you are willing to heal, things improve, open to healing. It could be as simple as going, universe, I open to healing. You don't like have to, again, you don't have to force yourself through the shadow work. You can like just open to healing and be open to it happening at the right time and pace for you, and just letting the universe lead you to the experiences, the people, the places, the things that will like spark that and bring you to more healed. And a lot of you are just like elevating right now, and like you're in this process of elevating and you think something's wrong with you, but you're just like working things out of your system to like embody that higher frequency. So like if you guys need a day to rest, by the way, just take it. That's going to help you heal. That's going to help you elevate as well. So the other thing that I wanted to get to, what improvements are coming in for the earth signs, sun, moon, and rising, knowing that you know. So I think that came through for the fire signs a little bit as well, but you're going to be knowing that you know, and feeling probably more confident with your knowing, which makes all the difference, because you might know something and, you know, like you get a channel message and then you second guess, and then you doubt, and then it takes like 12 years to make your decision, metaphorically. But if you know that you know, and you're like, no, I'm getting this message, I know not to date this person, or I know that this is the direction, so I'm just going to start moving that direction. Excuse me. That's coming in for you, which is good. They also said like you're going to know what to do, which is always a blessing. Intuition on a rise, being intuitive with ease. Those all kind of tie in together, I'd say. I think this is just a theme right now. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I think people might be like looking at the YouTube videos and like they're clicking on one reading and then they like go and click on the next reading, and like they still need that same message. So that might be why some of these are a little bit repetitive week to week, or some of you that are here this time might not have been here last week and the message still applies. But truth and clarity like never before coming through for the earth signs, sun, moon, and rising. And you know, if you've been here week after week and you're getting these messages, it's still coming, or you're still in that theme. Sloth spirit animal also showed up, and another thing that would be help you improve things is like, or that's coming in as an improvement, is like just ease and taking it easy. So like, whereas before you were rushing and making things hard, or you were just making things difficult, I feel like you're gonna be taking things easier and having more ease as an improvement that's coming in for you. So we're gonna move to the messages that came through for you just in general, and some of this might be about improvement. It's just whatever is for the highest good to come through that I was getting for you. And I'll probably get more as I go through these, but they showed me pentacles, and they just said a lot of cleanup happening in your life. Of course, that theme is just rolling through. It's like a shifting of the ages. Things that might have taken years are going to go much faster. You are headed towards your pentacles. So there's kind of like 5 messages in one with that one. Like there might be certain things that were would normally take years in your life that happen really quickly, like a healing or like even like a business getting going. I know we said don't rush, but that doesn't mean things won't happen quickly if you're not rushing. It's just like something that you might think would take years happens in like a day is something I'm getting. Or like a manifestation comes in way sooner than you expected is like an example. Or maybe you think it's going to take like a year to heal from some trauma, but then you heal it in like 2 weeks, or like you get to a more healed spot like really quickly is something they're showing me. But the other message that's important, like you're just headed towards your money, you're headed towards your pentacles, or that's coming in some way. So I would like keep taking action towards money is something I'm getting as a message for you who are seeing this. If you've been like stuck in limbo about money or not sure what to do, like take action towards the things that are going to bring that in. I think you and everything will thank you for it is what I'm getting. And like, you know, you need money to survive. So try not to poo-poo money or act like it's... I need to like balance this message. I feel they're saying like act like it's not important. I think like it's totally possible that for a lot of you, money is not like significant for you, but you still need it to survive and maybe even open the door to thriving, at least for most of you in society as it is now. And maybe sometime in the future, things will be different where there's like universal income or something cool and people are taken care of and it's not so like cutthroat, if that makes sense. But for right now, I'd walk towards money, and it's not like money at like the expense of your values or morals, or money at the expense of other people necessarily. It's like money that you earn, money that you're worthy of. Just receive that money. Next message here, you get it probably. Octopus spirit animal showed up. It was actually a message about multidimensionality. You are meant for more than one thing, so be open to other possibilities. Maybe you think, the example they're showing me is like Olympic curling. Like maybe you think Olympic curling is your thing and like you can only think Olympic curling and breathe Olympic curling and you only eat hamburgers that are cut into the shape of an Olympic curling thing. A weird example. But it's like there's more for you than just that. Like you didn't incarnate for just one thing. There's multiple things. So I guess like an example would be maybe you're into music, but you're also into yoga and fitness, and you're also into what, can I get an example, please? I think you're also into like channeling or something. I feel like I'm kind of using myself as an example with the music and the channeling and stuff, but whatever. Just know that there's more than just one thing that you're here for. And it's okay to do like more things, and you might be more successful doing multiple things instead of just one is something I'm hearing as well. Like maybe you have a business that's just consulting, but maybe if you do consulting, then teach music on the side, you'll be more successful. Or maybe there's like other things you can add to that consultant business. Like maybe you do tarot readings as well as consulting and people have the option to add that in or something. Hopefully you get what I'm saying, but that's just what they're saying. Next message, they showed me a net. They said, you have a safety net. If you feel like you are walking a tightrope over a long drop, there is a safety net right underneath you that the universe has in place. You can relax, even if things seem precarious. The universe will always cover you. So a lot of you have earned the universe like covering you in some way or like watching your back. And you might think you're in this precarious position, like it could be about money or like in a relationship or at a job, but it's like the universe has you covered and then some is pretty much what I'm hearing. Like it's not even a long fall to that safety net. It's like a couple feet. So like you're more than covered for essentially. Where you feel like things are precarious, they're actually not. It's just like you might not realize that or see that right now. And you know, like sometimes we're wired for like safety and security, or we're taught to really move towards that in society. And so like things can seem more precarious than they actually are. Especially if you're experiencing something for the first time, like being in a certain situation, or just like in general. An example that they're kind of flashing to me is like one time when I was like 19, I think I lived in Colorado, and there was this one hike, and it was behind like if you guys are from Colorado or know Red Rocks Amphitheater, there's like this almost like slightly hidden trail, like kind of on one of the roads behind Red Rocks that like walks up behind the amphitheater and like goes up these like this foothills, or I know in Colorado they're foothills, but to me they still seemed like mountains. And like there's this part of the trail like towards the end that's like it's almost slightly more like bouldering, like you're hopping from boulder to boulder. And like I remember when I was 19, like it just seemed so like my legs were shaking. It was high up. It seemed like I could fall off the side really easily. Like it felt really precarious getting to the top of this hike. towards the end. And then I redid the hike when I was like 25, I want to say, like 6 years later. And I got to that part, I was like, oh man, it's going to be so like precarious. I'm so ready to face this. I think I was going through a lot of changes in my life. So I was just like, I just need to get away and do some adventure. And I got to that part and it was just like not precarious at all. I was like, this is not scary at all. It's really simple. I don't know if I took a slightly different way the last time but I think I had grown. I'd had more experiences, so it just didn't seem as precarious as like the first time I climbed that mountain, if that makes sense. And they're kind of showing, the reason I'm talking about that example is they're kind of showing me something similar for you, where it's like, it might seem more precarious than it actually is. And if you came back 10 years later, you'd be like, I was fine. So next message here, truth on a rise. Truth is just a theme for everyone right now. You will be realizing all the truth you need to realize. This is a time of truth and unveiling. So just know a lot of truth is coming in for you. And a lot that was hidden is going to be unveiled is something I'm getting as well. The next thing they had here, wait, they want me to go back. They're also saying like even things you're hiding from yourself, you won't be able to hide from yourself. Like you're going to be seeing within yourself very clearly, which is a good thing because you can heal and rearrange things, or sometimes you just need to like become aware of something and it changes. Next thing, peace. You are going to be feeling so much more peaceful and at peace with yourself. You might be waiting on the world to change, but things are actually changing much more quickly than you realize beneath the surface and everywhere. A lot of things you want are a hop, skip, and a jump away, and you are going to be seeing that and taking those actions. So I really like the message where it's like there's things you want that are a lot closer than you think. And like sometimes you think something's far off, but it's not. It's like they're showing me this example, like an island, like you're on this beach and there's this like island kind of like looks far away and you're like, oh, I really want to get to that island, and maybe there's treasure on that island. In this example, they're showing me treasure on that island, and you think like, oh, it's so far away, like I don't think I have a boat, like how do I get there? But then like you look over and there's just like a bridge just a mile away that you can walk to and like walk across to this island or something that you didn't see before or something. And it's like maybe you thought you had to like wait until you could get or afford or borrow a boat to get to this island, but it's like you could walk there right now. Or it's just like you just need to take like one action step and like you can bring something into your world that you've really been craving. Like I don't know, maybe you want an iPad and you're like, oh, but it's like this much money and it's but it's like maybe you just need to like sell this old computer you have laying around and then you can buy that iPad or something. So it's like just it's going to be different for each of you, but that's the kind of the gist, where it's like there's a lot that's just so much closer and easier to get to than you realize. And as you see that, it's just like, I'm there, I'm there. So that'll be good. Next thing, they showed me an owl, knowing, clarity, truth. Owl spirit animal is helping you to see everything you need to see. And owl spirit, let me see what the message owl spirit animal wants to bring through is. So they're showing like this team of owls showing up. It's not even just one owl, because they showed this owl and then all of a sudden like these like 20 owls like showed up in this visual I'm getting like on these branches here. And it's like these owls can look at like every direction as a team like simultaneously. So you're really being looked out for is what I'd say. Like if there's something coming that you need to worry about, like you're gonna see it coming a mile away and be able to take action to keep it from bothering you or overly impacting you, as something I'm getting as well. So like this team of owls is making sure you see everything you need to see and making sure you take the proper path. So it's going to be easy to see like the path you need to take and like, keep an eye out for and avoid things that would be a detriment to you. And these owls like see all is something they're showing me, like whether it's dark, whether it's light, these owls kind of like know everything. They see everything. So it's kind of just like you're covered by this all-seeing force, which sounds a lot like divine protection to me and divine just guidance. But there's like more to it with this message for some reason, and for some reason it's important I'm bringing this message through in this way, so keep that in mind. It's like you have the Secret Service team of owls watching your back essentially. So next thing, they just gave me this message of foundation. They said your foundation is solid. You might be worried about things collapsing, but they won't. It's actually time for improvement. And they're playing the Home Depot theme song as I say improvement, like home improvement. And maybe some of you are having some home improvements. And for some of you, it's like your home, your body, your inner home. For others, it's like your actual house or apartment or whatever. But the main message is like some of you might be fearing like your house, or your something in your life is going to collapse. but very little is going to collapse for you. And if it does, it's actually like showing you something hidden you need to see, or like helping you to build back stronger, or helping you to create something you actually want to create. And they're kind of showing me this concept of, like a home, and someone like needs to knock down a specific like section of the home to rebuild it the way they actually want to see it, or to improve it. And so it's actually more like, it's kind of more like that, where it's like, if something collapses, it's just because there's something better coming in, or you'll see something you need to see, and or like it's the opportunity you need to like make your life how you actually want to see it, and maybe that thing was in the way and you didn't realize it. Not that it was bad or hindering you, it probably served its purpose, but that's it as far as like what I had channeled down ahead of time. There's one more message for you. So what's that message here? They're showing me this concept of like a cloud and then like a gentle landing. It's like some of you think the universe is gonna like drop you and like throw you into the pit of despair with like the way certain things are going in your life. But I feel like you're actually gonna be getting these like gentle landings to where you need to be, like exactly where you need to be. And like I want to double check and just see, is this the message they want me to talk about here? And the example they're showing me is like a parachute being tangled, which would be terrifying probably for most people when you're like parachuting or like, skydiving, and like maybe the parachute gets tangled and you're like, oh my God, like I'm going to die, I'm going to break my legs, da 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 da. But then like, it like either magically untangles, or you're able to like get your second parachute, deployed, and like you're like at the last second you have this like gentle landing, or you're slowed down. So you have like a perfect gentle, easy landing or impact or something like that. So, and it's not like slowing down your impact as far as an impact you're going to make on the world. It's more like landing in an area, or you think you're about to fall into this pit of spikes, but then like you gently land like exactly where you want or need to go, is something they're showing me, something weird like that. So keep that in mind as well. But that's it for the Earth sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hope that was helpful and made sense. We are going to we're going to move to the air signs, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So we're switching here. So if you have an air sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising, of course, it's for you when you see it. If you're here live, it's for you now. If you're watching on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. Thank you for the water break. Hey, Destiny, reminder. I also would like to just give a shout out to the moderators like Destiny and Texas Jess, and I think China Moon Girl. If anyone else is here, they really help keep chat running smoothly and keep you guys informed on what's going on while I can focus on reading. So again, I just want to say thank you so much, and I'm wishing, I gotta get the water out of my beard and stuff. But I hope you guys are doing great. So air signs, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What will it take for the air signs to improve your lives? Trust is the first word I'm getting. Trusting the divine, trusting opportunity, not rushing ahead. Sitting with yourself is going to open a lot of things up for you. So a lot of like these different sides, like just like sitting with yourself and being is going to be like helpful in improving things. But if you're able to move towards trust and lean into trust and trust the divine and trust your life, trust your circumstances, I feel like things are really going to open up for you, or things just won't seem as precarious as something I'm getting as well. The next message I have here is opening to the divine. So whether it's learning a modality like Reiki, opening to your own guidance, pulling cards, or setting the intention to open up in ways that are for the highest good to what's for the highest good to open up to, opening to the divine will improve things drastically. Letting the divine lead your life is going to improve things a lot for you too. So becoming more divinely led, and again, like whether it's Reiki or astrology, or in some way, shape, or form, opening up to your intuition, divine guidance, to true, highest, and most infinite source, to your angels, to spirit guides, really going to improve things. Even if it's a slow process and you're just learning, and it takes, sometimes when you get into intuition, sometimes like you're ready for that awakening, you're ready to get into it. It just ramps up right away. You get all these experiences showing like you're good, and it's like you're good. And like other times, like maybe you have those experiences, but you also like, it takes a little bit of time and practice and patience to really open it up, and you have to put in the work as well. And I kind of get this message, like all of you will have to put in the work to improve, sort of. At least sort of is kind of what I'm getting. Because I think it's a common misconception that you just like wake up and you're a channeler. And for some people that does happen, and they're wake up that way, they're born that way, that's just their whole life. But for others, it can be a learned skill or a combination of both. So it might be a bit of a disservice for me to say it's going to happen like magically and you're just going to wake up tomorrow and be exactly like me or exactly like some other amazing like reader or channeler or psychic or intuitive or whatever that you follow or look up to or whatever. Not saying you look up to me, but you know what I'm saying in general. If you're putting in the work to improve your divine guidance, that's going to improve your divine guidance, whether you're practicing doing card readings for yourself and others, you're doing energy work sessions for people and like putting yourself in that space and then that frequency where you're receiving messages for someone, or showing up and channeling for yourself consistently, like with automatic writing or something, trying to read astrology intuitively, and getting that practice and showing up, it allows the divine to work through you and like upgrade you and gives you the experiences you need to learn how you work. And it also flexes, though I don't think muscle is like the perfect analogy for growing your intuition, because I think like human muscles, like you can only grow them so big, right? You can only lift so much weight after a certain amount of time, no matter how much work you put into it. I don't think intuition and energetic stuff is the same. I really want to say it's infinite, it's unlimited, or I don't want to put limitation on it and I want to see how far it can go. If that makes sense as well. But a lot of people will use that analogy of like building muscle, like the more you use it, the stronger it gets, etc. So I would be like practicing channeling or opening up to the divine, fully, if that's good, mediumship, whatever you're drawn to and resonates for you. And I just feel like that's going to improve things, even if it's just like a little bit. I feel like an ounce of intuition is greater than a whole book of contextless knowledge or a whole chapter of contextless knowledge, if that makes sense. It's like I'm getting like this weird message, but I need to get the whole sentence, so give me 1 second. It's like an ounce of intuition will lead you better than an encyclopedia of knowledge is something it's like an example. I'm not sure how like literally true, but I don't know, that's what they're saying. So just keep that in mind, even just a little bit, it's gonna help you. And like once you like have that breakthrough and you have that intuitive moment and like you're shown it's accurate and you know what that's like, that can really just like, it's like when you're digging for water and all of a sudden like the water starts trickling and you can just dig a bit more and it just opens up more and more and more until you have this river or this ocean of water. They're showing me this concept of like you're breaking through a wall and like you see this crack of light, but then it's like you just have to keep digging and like opening it up more and more and more, and then more light comes in, and then you have the whole wall is removed, or this whole passageway is removed, and you just have total divine guidance is like an example they're showing me. So hopefully that helps some of you, and some of you are already divinely guided, you're already like channel and stuff, just open to it more and trust it and follow it. And your psychic abilities are increasing, all of you is what I'm getting. Okay. The other thing that came through is what would help you improve your life, road opening. So set intentions for your road to open, set intentions for obstacles to be removed. Stop thinking you're stuck when you're not. That will improve your life. So working with Ganesha is something, or just some sort of intention to open the way for you guys. Whether it's a crystal grid or whatever you work with to, open the way for you guys. That and taking action once the doorway opens are going to lead you to your best life. I feel like these three things that came through would improve your life drastically. Trusting, opening to the divine. Even if you're starting out and it's signs and synchronicities guiding you, that's better than nothing is what I'd say. And the divine will reach you where you're at, how you're ready to receive they want me to take a step back. So the divine will meet you where you're at, whatever you're ready for, that's what's going to come in. And then road opening, like setting intentions for the road to open, is pretty much what I'm getting. Like, and then taking action when that happens. Those three things would really change your life over a long period of time if you did that. So what's coming in to improve your life besides like what you can do to improve your life? Juicy information on others, information on your path, information that helps you to move forward, knowledge or some opportunity is kind of one of the things that's coming in. So it might be knowledge a friend gives you, or maybe you book a reading. It doesn't have to be with me, by the way. You book a reading with someone and they give you this perfect message that helps you move forward, or Maybe it's just a reading on YouTube or something, but some way, shape, or form, you're getting some information that's going to help you move forward. Wisdom and making a lot of connection and realizations about the past, where you realize what went down, how and why things happened, and what you needed to learn from the past. So another thing coming in to improve your life is wisdom and just like realizations about the past and like dots connecting. You're like, oh, I see the way that happened now, or like, oh, that's what happened with that friendship. It wasn't me. It was XYZ thing that happened in their life, and I thought this, but it wasn't true. Or just kind of like this liberation in some ways from those dots connecting. Or you see a path forward because of what you've been through in the past. And before, you saw the past as like this thing hanging over your head, but now that you're grateful for it and learn the lessons, like, or you learn the lessons and then you're grateful for it, you see this like path to victory open up. And like, you know, an example they're showing me is like, and this is probably not going to be literal for most of you, if any of you, but maybe your bowling business failed. Like you had a bowling alley and you're so bummed about it. But then all of a sudden you realize like, well, I learned marketing, I learned this, I learned that. And then this opportunity for this other business comes in and you have all the things you need to make that a success finally, is something they're showing me. Next thing, again, I'm guessing this is just for everyone right now, truth and clarity. A lot of that going around. The more you live in truth and clarity, the more things will improve with ease and without effort. It will just make life easier. So learning from some form, okay. Another thing that would help you guys right now is learning some form of yes/no divination if you don't have that, whether it's, there's a couple examples they gave me like pendulum, muscle testing, but also there's this, give me one second here. There's this thing in Access Consciousness. It's a modality that I haven't like taken any of the classes. I just like read a lot of their books and learned how to work with a lot of their tools through their free content. And my guides told me not to take any classes with them. That's why. But there's this concept where it's called like what's light to you or feels light to you energetically is true for you. What's heavy is a lie. But you can also just feel energetically like where you want to go in your life. Like if you think about like an opportunity or a relationship or something, like you can already feel how it's going to be before you make that choice. Like you already know, if that makes sense. It's kind of a similar concept, I suppose you could say. I don't think I'm describing it perfectly, so give me one second. But for some reason, that's an example of like a yes/no thing. Because it's like, if you're getting like a yes, or it's true for you, it'll feel light. Like you'll feel light, the energy will feel light. But if it's a lie or it's like a no, it'll feel heavy. So like you'll have that barometer of like, oh, should I do this? And it'll feel heavy. Like, no, okay. Would it be for the highest good for me to do that? And it feels light. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go that direction. Or for me, I like to use my body pendulum, or my guides will just say yes or no, or do that or don't do that or whatever. And there's a million different tools, I suppose you could say, to do that. But some form of yes/no divination is going to be like really helpful for you guys if you want to practice that and hone that in, which I suppose would be another way to open to the divine. And then like for a lot of you, for some reason, like just air signs, like connecting with the divine, like if you are willing to like learn how to channel in some way, like practice automatic writing, there's like a mini audio guide that Lee Harris put out, and no affiliation, by the way, and it's not how I learned to channel, but how to channel and why, by like Lee Harris. It's like $30 US dollars or something, 33 I think. And then like it's just like a couple hour like thing where he goes through like how you can start channeling and like his experiences with it, and he does a channel on channeling, and I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to get started with channeling, and they want me to recommend that to you as well. So if you're new and you're like, how do I start? Totally understandable, by the way, but that's just something they're recommending. So we're gonna move to the messages for the air signs, sun, moon, and rising. One is improvement, heading towards vast improvement and feeling better about yourself, more confident. So you were already getting a message of you're heading towards improvement, in addition to like how you can improve your life right now. The next thing that came through was elephant, which course, pulling you over. Pretty much what they show is this elephant with like these ropes tied behind it. It's like tied to it, and it was like you were holding onto this rope, and like the elephant was like pulling you over these hurdles. And for some of you, it was like even against your will in some ways. Like you're being pulled like through these opportunities, like over these hurdles, and you're like, oh, I don't want to heal that yet. It's like too late, boom, like or something like that. But they said you might feel like you need to do a lot, but you actually don't need to do a lot. The divine is pushing you forward and over the obstacles that you thought were your impediments. You are being pulled to victory and to a win, whether that's business, career, and for some of you even love. You might think you need to do a lot, but you don't. So one of the messages for the air signs right now is you actually don't need to do a lot right now. And I'm not saying don't do things. I know we just talked about like taking the actions once the doorway opens up. but you don't need to be like controlling with like how much you're trying to do and like fill all 24 hours of your day with like, this is going to make me move forward, 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 and like these 20 different areas. It's like it's taking small steps and letting things percolate is going to lead to like the larger actions. And I think you're just going to be like gracefully taking those actions, a lot of you, or like guided to take those actions, if that makes sense, one way, shape, or form. But I feel like things are going to improve even if you don't do much right now. Like you're being pulled through the realizations you need. I think some of the obstacles are just falling away on their own is something I'm getting, so keep that in mind. Another message that's coming through for you guys, ease is coming in. You are learning what ease is and how to live in it. If you accept ease into your life, things improve. Manifest ease and learn what it takes to live in ease. So let me see how they want me to explain this a bit more here. Like some of you think things need to be difficult or things are supposed to be difficult, but that's kind of programming from society or from other humans, if that makes sense. Because like, what if life can be lived in total ease all of the time? Like, what if it's possible, and what if you can create that? And what if struggle is not something that's a necessity all of the time? And I know there are some great lessons and wisdom and things that are birthed from struggle or going through dark nights of the soul, and I've been through a lot of that, or a good amount of it at least. But what if you can learn the lessons with ease? Or what if you can gain the wisdom with ease? Or what if you can just go with your knowing, and through the knowing, like you don't have to go through as many lessons because you'll kind of already know through your divine guidance, like what the right way to go is, or what's in alignment with source and your soul, and what is like not, is like something they're showing me. So ease is a possibility, and they want you to manifest it and like sit with like, how can I bring more ease into my life? And realize like it doesn't need to be a struggle. And if it still is, like you can sit with like, okay, what is this trying to teach me? And what will it take for this to be easy if it's for the highest good? But that's just something else I'm kind of getting on that one as well. Truth, I think truth came through for everyone now that I think about it. And they just said, but this instance is a little bit different than the other signs. They said, a lot of what you need to know, you already know at this time. So don't pretend you don't know. Go with what you know and you will succeed. Whether that's like logical knowing, or that's divine guidance, or like maybe I remember one time I was kind of getting into investing in cryptocurrencies, and this is not financial advice, by the way, but I watched, well, let me see how they want me to say this. I watched a reading, and the reader was talking about like, he's like, yeah, I feel like you know something and it's like about an investment, but I feel like it's like in your mind, it's like a little bit different than like, it's not necessarily intuitive, but it's like, it's a good investment and like you should do it, but like I kind of see like you might miss out on that. It was something weird like that. And then like in my brain, I kept thinking about like Dogecoin before it really like took off, like when it was like, if any of you follow that, when it was like 0.005 cents or 0.05 cents or something, or something ridiculously low before it skyrocketed to like 70 cents. And I kept thinking like, oh, I should like invest in Doge. Like, oh, I should invest in Doge. Or like, oh, I really think it's going to take off. But it wasn't like my guides were saying like, I did get some signs like right before it took off, and I didn't invest. But it was like, it's almost like sometimes you like know things even just cognitively like that. And it's like, that's what you like go with your knowing, if that makes sense. And they're just kind of saying like, you already know a lot of what you need to know to like, and if you go with that instead of second guessing or pretending you don't, you're going to succeed. And what's another example for that? Like maybe this person you're interested in is into you. But it's like, maybe you're just like, oh, I don't want to get rejected. Oh, what if I'm wrong? Da, da, da. But it's like, you kind of know. And it's like, maybe you should shoot your shot is like an example they're giving me. So, next message I have here, anything else on that? Okay, we're skipping a message and we'll go back to it. But they showed me elk spirit animal showed up. It was just a reminder to be fierce when you have to. Even an elk might seem gentle, but it can be fierce when it needs to be, like with its antlers and stuff. But the other thing elk was talking about was enlightenment. You are actually headed towards a more enlightened state where you don't need as much as you thought you did. You are being called to release things you cling to on earth and open to bliss from the universe. Cosmic connection leads to enlightenment. So we have all these messages about connecting to the divine, cosmic connection, connecting to source. But I actually feel like you're being led to enlightenment in some way, or at least closer to it. And I know there's like just so many different projections and ideas and human concepts and judgments on what enlightenment is. I found a lot of those to be detrimental. if I'm being really honest. So I would sit with the divine and let the divine show you what that is and what that means, instead of buying like some guru's definition of enlightenment or Thich Nhat Hanh's book on enlightenment or whatever. Sorry, Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know why that came through, but that's just a message that's coming through for you, is like actual energetic enlightenment is what you're being led towards in a good way. Weird message. So going back to what was up ahead or up above that, rain and clearing. A lot is clearing for you guys. It might seem like important things are being washed away, but it's really impediments that are being washed away. A lot of ancient history is clearing out of your system. So if you're having a weird day, it's likely just an ancestral healing or clearing that's going on. They're showing me this like this rain and then this like mudslide happening, and maybe there was like this building on this mudslide, and you're like, no, that was my home, but maybe you were actually supposed to move away from mudslide land to Minnesota, is the example they're showing me for some reason, and like build a business in Minneapolis and have all this success, but this like clinging to this home in this mudslide land where no one lives and you can't start a business because no one lives, was really an impediment to you and your life and your joy and everything that was for you. And you kept thinking you needed to move, but you weren't moving because your great-grandfather built this home, and it would be a dishonor to your family if you moved, even though it wouldn't have been a dishonor to your family if you moved. And I know I'm concocting, or this whole story is kind of coming through to describe this ridiculous example, but that's just kind of saying, like, if something important seems like it's leaving, it's actually an impediment, not important. Or something, if it was important, like, you'll get a replacement right away, but in a better location or in a better way for you. Woo! The last thing, there was just another reminder, really briefly, to be truthful to yourself. And, like, if you're honest with yourself, things will improve. That came through, like, last week, too, but it's coming through for you again. Grapes, success is coming. Just be patient with yourself while it comes. So just know that there is success coming, but you need to be patient for yourself while it's coming in. Anything else for the air signs, sun, moon, and rising? I feel like I went like, woo, all over the place, but let me see what else comes in while we're here. So they're showing me this really interesting message. They're showing, you know how like the gaseous state of matter, like there's, and you know, I know some of you might go like, matter doesn't exist, it's all energy. I hear ya. But for this example, you know how there's like the liquid phase, and then there's the gas phase, and I guess there's plasma and probably other ones that no one's found yet. And maybe there's at least 3 more, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am though. Anyways, we're talking about phases of matter. They're showing like the concept of gas and like air, and they're like, you know, gas might seem like a weak phase of matter. It's like when you have like solid objects, it's like it's strong, it's sturdy. You know, if you take a baseball bat and hit someone, it like hits really hard. And like a liquid, like you think of the ocean, like these waves, like this unstoppable force. You know, if you have a boat in the ocean, like if you got a big enough wave, like there's, what can you do? You know, and if any of you have been caught in like a riptide or like a really strong current or a wave, like you know what I'm talking about. But they're like, you know, gas is really powerful in its own way. Like they're showing, I don't like these examples. It's just what they're showing me. Like they're showing me like coughing gas, or like how certain gases can be like lethal or really potent or have this really big impact, even though it's just this like gas and the air, and it's not hitting in the same ways necessarily. But it's like you're more powerful than you realize is the message they're trying to bring through. Even if it's not like traditionally powerful, and even if it's not what everyone thinks as powerful, it's like you have so much more potency to you and more potential to you than like anyone's really acknowledged, is kind of something I'm getting, and maybe even more than you've acknowledged for yourself. So one of the things the universe wants to do for you is show you how potent you are, is one thing I'm getting. But even if it's not traditional, know you're more powerful than you realize. And that's the last thing they wanted to bring through for this. It might be more with elk, though. They're showing elk with like clashing antlers here. There is like one last message. They're showing me elk and he's clashing with like another elk, but then they showed this elk like pooping. And they're trying, the way they're showing it to me is like this image of elk as like a majestic, like beautiful, like out there mythical creature. Like, I don't know, I think there's all these different legends or myths of like a lord of the forest, and it's like some mystical fairy elf or something, and it's like gigantic and like 12 feet tall or whatever. I don't know. But they're showing this like elk, and it's majestic, and it's pooping, and they're like, you know what, like everyone poops. Don't look up to people so like hard that you're putting them on this pedestal and thinking like, oh, I can never get to this place I want to be because this amazing majestic person is already there and they're so amazing, and how could I ever be like that? Or maybe you're just putting people on a pedestal that don't deserve it in some ways, like a relationship or someone in your life. They're just trying to like give this message like, hey, everyone poops. Try to see it a little bit more realistically and like in a balanced way. And like you're going to be shown everyone's a person, even if they're really amazing, even if like maybe some of them do deserve to be put on a pedestal, sort of, but not to your detriment and not to the point where you're denigrating yourself or seeing yourself as unworthy in some way, is something I'm getting as well. So that's like another message coming through right now, is like not to hold yourself back because someone else is amazing, is what I'm hearing. And I always say what I hear and what the channel message is. They want me to say this for some reason, because it's like there's been times where I've done readings on part of my learning phase with these general readings, I suppose, is I did like a reading on TikTok, and I remember I heard this message where it was like about making some leap of faith or jump, and then I remember hearing this message like, oh, it's not going to be like as big a deal as you think it is, or it's not going to be as big a leap as you think it is. And while I was like bringing that message through, I started to question it and started to like, I started to go off on this explanation, and they're like, no. That's not what we said. I'm paraphrasing a little bit of what they said, but they're like, we said this, like, go back, like, stop saying your explanation. Or it was pretty much what they were trying to get me to do. And so then I remember rewatching that reading, or it popped, because sometimes, you know, they're timeless for you when you see it. Sometimes they're for me. You know, when I go back and watch the readings, or they pop up for me if I accidentally click on one or something. And I was watching it, and like I was thinking the circumstance that it was about kind of came to mind, and then like I realized like the original message I'd gotten was the exact perfect message I needed when I was watching it. I'm like, oh, that probably applies to every person that reading found, or every person that reading was for, which was 99.9% of the people that saw it, is what I'm getting. And like they're saying it was for everyone if they'd really contemplated it for a second, but that was my lesson on like trust what I'm getting. Thanks, train. And like just even if it doesn't make a lot of sense to me now, or even if it like sounds weird, like someone needs to hear it, or y'all need to hear it. So that's it for the air signs, sun, moon, and rising. No, that was the air signs. Air signs, thanks. So we're gonna move to the water signs, sun, moon, and rising. They're immediately showing me a pirate ship flag or something, so we'll get to that in a second. So I'm gonna drink some water. And then we will get going. And I'm already getting like visuals of like sharks and stuff, so this is a timeless reading for you when you see it. Water sign, sun, moon, or rising. Scorpio, Cancer, I got this. Not Aquarius, Pisces. I don't know why I'm having trouble remembering those zodiac signs today. But so we're going to jump right into it's for watching on YouTube. It's for you when you see it. If you're here live, it's for you now. So, they showed me already a pirate ship and like a pirate flag and a shark. So let me see what these messages are here fully for that. That's good. One of the improvements coming in for you guys, water signs, is that people who have been like stealing from you are leaving, whether it's been like energy theft, or it's been like maybe people have been like swiping from your bank account and you didn't realize it. I'm not trying to cause a panic. I don't think that was a lot of you tuning in. That's just an example. I'm sure some of you were like, I need to check my bank account. Or just in some way, shape, or form, like someone's stealing credit or something. Like if people have been like stealing from you, or something's been being stolen from you, like that's ending, or like those pirates are being put to justice, so to speak, is what I'm getting. So 1 second here. The other thing with the pirate's flag here, maybe some of you or a lot of you think you're a much worse person than you actually are, as like maybe you view yourself as this like lowly pirate, but you're actually the saint, and you just like have a really maybe you don't have the best self-image is something I'm hearing for some of you as well as a message. So part of the improvement coming in for you is that you're going to be realizing how good you are is one of the messages as well. With Shark Spirit Animal here, I'm getting this message, you face your fears and you are leaving, is one of the messages I'm getting. And so if you don't feel like you have faced your fears, you're going to be facing your fears, or you're currently facing your fears, and those fears are going to be leaving. Because they're showing the shark, and like you face your fears, and the shark like goes and like hides in a hole and starts like quivering. So it's like your fears are being banished. And you're going to be able to move forward with more ease, or with ease, because of that. So the messages, besides what just dropped in as I started the reading about what will it take to improve your life, one of the things that came through for water signs is flowing, just letting go of obstacles you hold in your mind. Maybe you think you can't be a pro athlete, but if you would just exercise instead of overthinking it, like you'd be able to be a pro athlete is like an example that's coming through. Letting go of things people have said to you that, you know, in the past that hold you back, like insults, or maybe people were trying to knock you down a peg because they were jealous and it wasn't true, but it got in your psyche or something. So like letting go of those things. So if you are willing to release those inner obstacles, things will flow for you more easily, and you will have a much better time. If you are willing to release, things will improve. Book an energy work or a massage session or something of that nature to help you release, and don't stay stuck thinking this is all there is for you. Wherever you are at, as there is so much more, if you open to more, more will come. So there were like 20 messages in there in one, but I would do your best to not get caught up in your head and just like flow with things. So let me see how they want me to explain this a bit more. So one of the messages for the water signs, that forcing things is not a good idea right now. Like if you'll flow with things a bit more and like just stay in tune and flow, you'll kind of be shown what to do, like what's in flow to do next. Because they're showing like this underwater like scene in like this currents of water, and they want me to say something a little bit different, so give me 1 second. They're showing me like this, something that represents this flow, and it's like this path. And like when you're in this flow, it's like there's this like doorway or this like trap door, and you're like curious, like, oh, what's on the other side of this like underwater temple, or this temple like that's right next to this flow. And it's like if you're trying to like force these doors open instead of going, because like the flow goes like past it, but you want to like force this thing to happen, but the doors aren't opening. Like if you notice that happening, like you're trying to force something, like let go and just like flow past it, or flow to like just with the path, or flow with the flow. I need to find a better way to say this. How's it get any better than that? But if you go with the flow, it's like you're led to like a better door, a better opportunity, a better situation or something. If it's, you know, if it's about like trying to find love or friendship, it'll be like a better love or friendship. If this door is not opening when you try to force it, you're just going to be flowing to what's for you, if that makes sense. So that's one of the ways they're explaining that here. Release is, I know we said it in the collective, but it's also coming through for water signs. Like release is really important for the water signs. Excuse me. Like doing your best to release, like opening space to release. Because again, like there's this message that has been coming through today where it's like you're being cleaned, like you're kind of being forced to let go a little bit. And like all the things that have like crusted over on you are being, like they're showing barnacles like on like dolphins and whales and stuff, but it was on you, or a representation of you. And it's like all these things that have crusted over on you are being removed. And like things that are crusted over, what does that mean? Like things like defeat. You're like, oh, I'm defeated. Will I ever be successful? I don't know. Or it's just like, oh, that thing didn't work out. Will I ever find love again? I don't know. And like these things kind of like just crust over, but you're being healed from that. And like those barnacles are being cleaned off of you is kind of what they're showing me. So just keep that in mind as well. Next thing that showed up, sunflower showed up. They just said, allow yourself to shine and things will improve. Don't be afraid of the limelight. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to get attention. Shining leads to victory. So a lot of you just need to shine and like, know you know what you know, which kind of came through for the air signs as well. Or, you know, just not be afraid to be in the limelight. The more you're willing to shine and be seen as shining and not hold back from that, just the better things get, essentially is what I'm getting. So don't hold yourself back from being a leader. Don't hold yourself back from putting yourself out there, whether it's on social media or in some other way, or for, you know, applying for a job or whatever shining means to you in this situation. Next thing that came through, I'm going to see if there's anything else that would be a message for like what you can do to improve your life here. Actually, for you, one of the messages that will help you improve your life is actually giving, like giving more, like paying attention to people when they talk to you and giving them attention, like especially loved ones, maybe donating to charity or finding some way to give. And, like when there's that, it's not really cliche. I think it's like a good quote. Like when you give, you receive. But sometimes like when you want to create abundance in your life, giving and like authentically giving is one way to open the door to receiving more. And I have a bajillion different stories on this. But I remember one time, it was like earlier for me on TikTok. I think I had like 2,000 followers or something, which wasn't bad, but I remember like just feeling like stuck at about that threshold. And then like I had some friends over and I had these really nice, like big, like crystals that were sitting on this ledge. And at the end of the hangout, my guys were like, okay, they each get one of the crystals from that ledge and they get to choose which one they want. And I said, okay. And so I said, like, guys, so I'm getting, like, if you want to take a crystal from this ledge, they want me to give one of those for you. And you guys choose, like, whatever crystal from that ledge that you want. And they're like, oh, wow. And so, like, they each took a crystal. And it was really interesting because there was one crystal that a friend had given me. And, like, I guess lately she had been getting this visual of, like, that crystal going to another one of our friends who was there for that hangout. And she was like, how do I get that crystal to her when I already gave it to Brandon? And then she ended up picking that crystal off of the ledge. It was there on the ledge, so that was cool too. But what happened after that, after I gave those crystals away and I was guided to do it, was like all of a sudden like my following count like doubled. I had like 4,000 followers and it like grew a bunch more like in the next couple of days after I did that. So that's one example of that, but that can play out a couple different ways. So I'm not saying to like give everything away and give everything to the point you can't pay rent, but what can you afford to give that you authentically feel called to give? And like one of the examples I've heard, I think I heard Lee Harris say this, is like, even just giving a stranger a smile on the street, like even if they can't like see it, like they still get the energy of a smile, like even if in COVID, I guess we all wore masks, but that's just, I'm not saying to be like a freak who's just like at everyone you see like on the street, because I don't know about that, but like you see just a warm smile when you see a stranger and make eye contact for a few minutes and then you walk by or something like that. So we're going to move to so let's move to the next phase here. What is coming in to improve your life? Just kind of what's on the way. Victory and wins, success at last, feeling like you can make it. So if you felt like you haven't been able to make it, I feel like you're going to feel like you can make it. Obstacles not being a thing, so just no obstacles. Feeling like you can flow, ease, which I guess we just talked about flow, and I guess you're going to feel like you can flow. And like divine guidance like never before, so signs, synchronicities, and direct guidance up-leveling and improving. But like permanently, I feel like I'm getting it's increasing permanently, not just like for a day or something. So that's coming in to improve your life. Also just like reassurance, a lot of divine pressure to move you forward and keep you from stagnating. You're going to feel a big push forward. That's one of the things coming in. And they're kind of reminding me of this current message that they were showing me at the beginning of the reading, where it's like, when you're in a current, sometimes it's difficult to like fight that flow, or like if you're in a strong river, like the river is just pushing you down the path of the river, whether you're whitewater rafting or whatever you're doing. So like you do have a lot of divine like pressure, and like maybe you could see it like a current pushing you forward. So I feel like it's going to be impossible not to move forward is one of the messages I'm getting for you guys, which is good here, especially regarding like business, but even like health and wellness. It's going to be slightly different for each of you, but those areas, and even love, are going to be like 3 on the spotlight regarding this message I'm getting. Sunflower came through again. Like Sunflower came through as far as like what it will take to improve your life, which was about shining. But Sunflower came through as another sign, but it was about like joy and happiness coming in. So more joy and happiness to keep you afloat is what I was getting. I'd say sunflower seeds are also a sign for you. If you see like sunflower seeds, like, in baseball, they chew sunflower seeds and spit them out and things like that. Or maybe someone will hand you a package of sunflower seeds. I'm not sure. But that's it for that phase. We're going to move to the messages that just came through of like what would be nice good to come through for you. Water sign, sun, moon, and rising. And we have just other thing about flow. I know I talked about flow like 3 times already, but flow. The flow is taking you to a new place. You are learning how to flow more. The more in flow you are, the more easily things transpire. We kind of covered that, so we'll move to the next one. Elephant showing up again. I'm going to ask them to switch it up in some of the future readings, because I feel like I know the messages are always different and on point, but sometimes I'm just like, why are we doing elephant again? But Ganesha, ease with obstacles, not feeling like you have to fight, feeling like you can handle anything, being on top of the world in a way or feeling on top of the world is what they're showing me for you guys. So, and I know I said that in a couple different ways already, but I just feel like there's just going to be like a lot more ease with regarding like just obstacles and like not feeling like you need to fight things in your life. So I want to sit with if there are any, they're showing me a cricket as well for you guys. And this is actually about abundance. And like this cricket is like trying to, this is a weird message, but we'll roll with it. Cover up its abundance. Like it has like these coins and this pile of like gold. And it's like trying to cover up all this abundance with grass. So let me see what the message is for you guys here. If you are willing to let yourself like feel abundance and like be abundant and know you're abundant, you're going to be drawing a lot more abundance in. If you're trying to pretend you're not abundant, it might not be as easy to be abundant as something I'm getting. So I want to just get a little bit more clarification on that for you guys so you know what that means. So can I get an example here? And like what I'm kind of getting is a lot of you are abundant in a lot of ways you don't necessarily acknowledge. Like maybe you have a lot of card decks, or maybe you have a lot of crystals, or you have a lot of amazing friends. And you're thinking like, I don't have a lot of money, so I'm not abundant or something like that. And they're like, well, it's totally understandable to like feel that way. They're like, they want you to acknowledge the abundance that's already there and in your life, and to like feel abundance regarding those things. And then like, more will come in. And I feel like you'll have money. No need to worry there is what I'm getting for the vast majority of you tuning in. Like that's coming, or you're going to be fine with that. More than fine. But if you're willing to acknowledge the abundance you have now, it's going to increase. And I don't care if it's you have a lot of kids or you have a lot of crystals or something like that. Like write it down, make either an abundance list, or just even maybe right now, if you're not sure how to do this, you're just like, I ask to acknowledge the abundance that's in my life. Let it be shown to me. Thank you. Because that's a really interesting message, but hopefully that makes sense to you so far regarding like all that right now. And the other thing they're saying is like, because crickets chirp, they can draw attention to themselves. This cricket is chirping by its pile of gold. They're just like, it's okay if people see that you're abundant or know that you're abundant. They're not going to take away your abundance. It's okay to live freely in abundance, if that makes sense, is something I'm hearing, interestingly enough. So, and they're also saying like, just because you have abundance doesn't mean it's going to be taken away. I know like sometimes we're like, once we get something we wanted, we're afraid of losing it all of a sudden. I don't feel like that's going to be the case for you, is something I'm getting as well regarding this message. So everyone today had something about truth. Again, this came through for the water signs. They said you are going to be telling a lot of truth. It's just going to slip out of you, so you won't be able to avoid telling truth to people, especially like where it's important. So your truth telling leads to shifts in your life that are for the better. The more you open to the truth, the better things get. I feel like I said that to everyone today. But the other message for you that's more specific is like, you're just going to be like, bleh. It's just going to like pull. It's going to like fall out of your mouth. Like you're just going to be telling the truth to people, especially where you need to and where it's going to lead to the shifts you need that are for your highest good. They actually did have a more direct message about abundance here as well. They said, if you feel like you've missed an opportunity, there are more circling around for you to experience. You won't miss what's for you. If you feel like you've been lacking abundance, don't worry about that. Abundance is coming. I guess we covered that. I'm also getting like, I'm hearing you're meant for, one second. You're also meant for abundance is something I'm hearing as well. So anything else on that? We're gonna move to the next message. They did show me an eel and they just said shock, like you were going to be shocking people with success and with your moves. If you're thinking about making moves, it's a good idea. This is a good thing. So let yourself shock others. If you don't, you're not moving forward. So make the moves that shock people. And I don't think you need to like forcefully find a move that you think is gonna shock people. I feel like there are moves that you're entertaining that feel light and would be really good for you to make and lead to a good place that like would shock people. Even if you've been like working on it for a time and it's like just finally time to launch something, but it shocks everyone because you were working on it in silence or something like that. It might even be time to launch a lot of things in your life, whether it's like a business or a project or a relationship, like maybe you're making a relationship public or something like that. Or it's a job change and your manager is shocked that you're changing jobs or something like that. Just don't be afraid to make moves that shock people or go in a different direction. It's like a good idea is something I'm hearing. I feel like you're going to be shocking people though. with a move you're making or something along that vein. Ooh, and the last thing here, I know the air signs had a similar message, but trust. You are being called to trust the universe a lot in your moves and what's going on, and in some ways you may feel blindfolded, but you are not. The universe has you in its arms and is guiding you along your path. Sometimes you have to go through a tunnel to get to the light, or walk through a dark forest to get to the other side to your destination. It does not mean you are stuck, and it does not mean you won't succeed. Life is turning you into the being you need to be. Trust the process and trust you are on your path. Life is turning around for the better is pretty much what I'm getting. So I feel like if you feel like you're in a dark phase, you're actually not in a dark phase. I think there are dark things leaving, and you might have like a moment of darkness and like despair for like an hour, but then it heals and you're like lighter and brighter than ever before. Like you're just releasing something. Just know you're not in darkness right now is what I'm getting for you. Like there's more light coming than ever before. You're just in this phase of release that leads to the light, if that makes sense, is kind of what I'm getting on this one. So even if you feel like you're called to take a mysterious path, or you don't know where it's going, or it's off the beaten path of the known trajectory of most humans or most people in your life, trust that path if that's your path is what I'm getting. That's the one that leads to victory. And even if it's unknown or seems unknown, it doesn't mean it's not for you. And maybe the unknown things are the things that lead to things no one's ever seen before, and the results that you actually seek. There's nothing wrong with 9 to 5, by the way, but if you get a 9 to 5, it's going to lead to what a 9 to 5 brings you. Nothing wrong with that, but it's pretty well known usually what that means. But maybe you want to start a foot massage business, which is a random example, and no one you know has ever done that before, and it's kind of a new niche. I know there's reflexology, but we'll get to that. I'm just trying to give this reading. Maybe you start a foot massage business and it's completely unknown and people haven't really done it before, but that niche really gets going for you and leads you to someplace new or something. So that's just an example that they're showing me. Hopefully that makes sense for you. They want to go back to eel and like eel spirit animal here. And for some reason, for the water signs, I'm getting this message, like, if you're not shocking people, what are you doing? Where it's like, you're kind of being called to shock people a little bit and like to stand for what you believe in. And like, maybe even some of you are just being called in a completely new direction that's like really shocking. But they're like, do it anyways. For some reason, like that's a big message is like about shocking people. They also want to talk about Jupiter, like the planet Jupiter. So what's that message about here? Just a lot of good luck and expansion. And they're showing this really weird visual, like Jupiter molting, almost like an animal molts its skin sometimes. Like some of you might feel like your good luck has frozen over, but it's really just like, it's just rebirthing or it's getting refreshed. And it's going to be like better than ever before. It's like to get to the bigger good luck, you need to get rid of the old good luck or like shedding an old skin or something like that. It's a weird message. So you have new, refreshed good luck coming, especially if you feel like your luck is like worn thin or you're just like, I don't know if I feel lucky anymore. I know people say that or whatever, but that's just something that's coming in for you as well. They're also just giving this message of like, hey, all the people that are harming you have to go. Whether it's a harmful thing that someone on YouTube is saying, or it's a mom who always says harmful things if you're old enough to move out and stuff, or it's like a friend that's always like undercutting you and like there's just like all the people that do you harm need to go is something I'm getting. I'm not saying cut everyone out of your life tomorrow, and if that feels like that's a lot of people in your life, maybe sit with that and start with like 1 or 2 you feel ready to, or just sit with that message and be like, am I ready to do this? Would it be for the highest good? And just consider it and see how you feel about it is something I'd say. It's not always a good idea to take the axe to your life, or to just dismantle your life completely right after hearing something like that. But for some of you, you're ready, so do what you feel guided to do. So that's it for the water signs, sun, moon, and rising. There might be like one more thing. And they just want me to reiterate the message, like the pirates are leaving, like the thieves of joy, the thieves of energy, the thieves of success, the people who undermine you. you're like getting this journey away from them, or it's like they're going to get distracted by something else. So like you have this free passage to your next destination and like what's for you. That's it though. So I hope that helped and made sense to the air signs, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, oof. So it'd be nice for me to do a full channel mode. So I'm probably going to jump into a full channel mode message next here. I might take like 1 second before we do that here. So I actually need to go to the bathroom. Thank you, Destiny, for sure. So I'm going to go... You're killing it, Brandon. Thank you, Lainey. I appreciate it. Always happy to hear the validation and really appreciate it that these are hitting and helpful. So I'm going to go to use the restroom. I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes or so. So if anyone wants to just let anyone who shows up and wonders why you're staring at a wall know that I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. Excuse me. So, stay hydrated, broski. Love it. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a different message. Fully that's good. Whoop, 1 second. I need to make sure this is going to stick. Okay, so is that water or good shine? Probably water. If you're talking about my hair, I didn't wet my hair, though. Maybe it would have been a good idea. Whatever. That's 2 lives in a row I'm talking about my hair. Okay. We are going to move to... I'm just going to directly channel my spirit guides, the angels, and source. So I'm going to step out of the way and see what my spirit guides, the angels, and source have to say. So I'm getting a theme today for... They were talking about like truth and who you are, but I was also just hearing it's going to be a little bit different maybe than some of the previous ones, or like a different angle. And like they're also saying it's going to be planetary. I don't know what that means yet, but we'll see what they say. So just give me just like a minute or two. I'm probably going to start coughing, and then you'll probably hear my spirit guides laugh, and then they'll jump into the message and you'll know when it starts if you're newer here. So and the other thing about channeling, fully for that's good. Channeling comes channeling comes with an energetic transmission, like from true highest and most infinite source. So there's more to, I mean, the words matter, I'd say, but there's more to the message than just the words. So also pay attention to the energetic transmission and how you're feeling with that too. If you're, and even if like you zone out and like you don't feel like you hear all of it, that's okay. Like you're getting the energy healing or whatever you want to call it, you need with that. So, okay, so let's see how they want me to start off here. Welcome to this day and to this live, though we understand you may be watching at another time, and that is okay. This is for you when you see this. And slow down is what we want to say for starters. Many of you think you need to rush to your destiny. Rush to what's for you, but this is what's for you right now in this moment. You are experiencing your life and what's for you and what you signed up for on some level within yourself. Many of you are on your soul destined pathways, and you might think you are supposed to be somewhere else. I should have started that shoe business. I should have gone to that college. I should have dropped out of high school and started a house cleaning business. Not many of you will think that last example was for you. But what we'd like to say is you are exactly on your path perfectly right now to go to where you are meant to go and to go to where your soul signed up to be. And many of you think you're going through something haphazard or not for you or wrong, but there's nothing wrong with where you are. You are actually working the wrongness out of your system, where you think you're wrong, where you're judging things as wrong, where other people think things are wrong, and you're realizing what's right. And everything is right in a way, otherwise it would not exist. There's something right about everything. And it doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean you need to judge it as good or bad. It just means there's a rightness to everything you're experiencing. And to let go of judging things as wrong leads to flow, because that leads to acceptance. And that leads you to who you are meant to be, because you are not clinging to an outcome, you are not clinging to a destination, you are not clinging to a way things should be. You are instead opening to who you are and what's for you. And your soul knows the way. Your souls are actually orchestrating your path 10 years ahead as we speak. It does not mean everything you're going to experience in the next 10 years is predestined. What it does mean is your path is pretty well set for many of you, and you can change it. You can ask for it to be better. You could even go become a drug addict tomorrow and throw it off and make it 20 years in the future you get where you're supposed to be going. Though you won't. Many of you will be shielded from that. And especially those of you who are divinely guided, you are actively kept and hindered from going off the rails in those ways, especially if you have an important mission on earth. You could try to become a drug addict, but something would always intervene. Your body might just start to completely repel the experience to the point where you can't even do it. And you're forced to get on the right path. And many of you are going through those corrections as we speak in some area where your body will just reject the alcohol. Your body will just reject the person. Your body will just reject the job. Your body will just reject what's not your soul pathway. And some of you think you are wrong for that rejection. You should be happy in your job. Should you? What if there's something better? There's something wrong about me, some of you think. Is there? Or were you taught to think there's something wrong about you when nothing ever really was? Your soul is leading the way towards your destined pathway. And here's where you learn the truth. Your soul has always been leading the way. Through the traumatic experiences, through the healing experiences, through the story you have lived. You might think terrible things have happened for no reason, but these things brought you to who you are. And we know some of these things have been awful for you. Downright traumatizing. But your path to restoration will lead you to who you are. Will lead you to bring your soul through in a way you might not have if you hadn't gone through that thing. And we are not saying it was totally right. We are not saying what happened to you was justified. We are just saying, what if it wasn't wrong either? And what if that will be the thing you're most grateful for in 10 years? And for some of you, that might be triggering, and we do not mean to trigger. We mean to offer a different perspective to your life. For some of you, the most horrendous thing will be the biggest blessing. Not all of you. Some of you will just be glad it's over. But it's leading you to where you're meant to be. And that is something we really want to hammer in today. Because that resistance is what's keeping you back from all that's for you. And acceptance is the way that leads you to it. Not judging the things that happen to you as the best thing ever if you do not feel that way right now. But acceptance. Part of the truth that's coming in for you, all of you tuning into this, is the truth about the past. The past you've experienced, the things you've been through. And the next 10 years for a lot of you are about unveiling that truth. So many of you have had so many hints from the universe on your next phase, on the purpose of your life, on things that are for you. And the puzzle pieces have not yet come together to jut you on that path. But in 10 years, you'll see how it all came together. And how you were always meant to be doing what you end up doing in 10 years. And that is the path you are on. One of culmination, one of completion, one of bringing together all of your experiences to forge this new phase. Because we are ending an era. You are coming to the end of an era. Please excuse the dubstep outside if you hear that. An era of your life is ending, many of you. But these next 10 years start a new phase for all of you, everyone on earth. And that's where things start to culminate. More light is coming to earth than ever before. And that is part of this next 10-year phase as well, as you embodying the light, becoming the light you're meant to be. And the things that have dimmed your light, the traumatic experiences of the past, the light is going to start to break through those in the year ahead, so you can release those things or allow the light in to become the light embodied instead of the crusted over version of you that you became through those darker experiences, some of you. Part of this message is about you becoming the light in the energetic encodement. Part of it is about you becoming the light that you are. Because you are all a light on earth. You all came here to be light on earth. You all came here to heal the collective. You all came here to heal yourselves and your bodies and to shine. And that light that you are is going to change things. And that's why this light theme is so important. As you let the light into your trauma, to seep into your experience and to let it transform you. You are actually healing the collective. You are healing your ancestral lineage. You are healing the past of Earth. And that's why the end of this era is so important. You are heading out of the trauma and into the healing. And yes, there will still be things on Earth that are traumatic, but they will be less and less as the centuries move forward. Society is moving forward. It might not look like it. There are still things for you to work on, but it's moving forward and into the lights. And you are a big part of that happening. The more you heal, the more you imbibe the lights, the more you become who you're meant to be. You bring more light to your collective, you bring more light to the world, and you shed everything that's not the light. You are going to be seeing trauma become less of a thing in the years ahead. More people will be able to hold healing and hold a healed state. As more of your collective hold this healed state, trauma cannot exist quite as directly and succinctly as it used to. It won't be able to have a hold on the human quite so much. So many of you are on this path of healing trauma, releasing it, letting the soul in instead, letting the light in instead. That as more of you do this, no one else will be able to hold trauma in their being unless they really cling to it. And that is the nature of as above, so below. You have no idea the impact you have here by healing yourself, by going about your everyday, by saying that kind word to a stranger. But more than that, the impact you have on others is going to increase as you increase your light levels. And again, that is where you are all headed. So now is a great time to release, to work on releasing trauma, the shadows of the past, not judging them, accepting them, and letting them go. And the more you are able to do that and work that out of your body, the faster your path unveils, the faster you become who you are, the faster things will transpire. And we wish to leave you one more message on healing. Most of you are more healed than you realize. It is just one or two things that are tripping you up. A lot of the issues you encounter are actually not yours. There are issues you see in others that you think are yours. There are issues that are made up even in some instances. Some of you are just one or two things away from completely changing your life through healing alone. One or two mental realizations, one or two releases. And that is why we encourage you to release so strongly today. If those few things get worked out, things improve. That is the message we wish to leave you with today. That of the world changing to be more of the light, that of trauma leaving the collective, and that of you realizing who you are. Your soul, source, incarnate on earth, the light, and someone who's meant to bring light. And never see yourself as the devil. Never see yourself as despair. Never see yourself as someone who brings damage. And if you feel like you bring damage, really sit with that. Really look at your patterns. But you're not someone who brings a lot of damage. Not those of you tuning into this. Maybe in the past. But forgive yourself for that. It's time for you to bring healing. And you're in a healed enough state to do that, even if you do not think that you are. Please release the shackles of unhealedness, and please release the perspective you cannot heal for the few of you who need to hear that. That's all we wish to leave you with right now. Have a blessed rest of your day. Have a blessed time. And we will see you on the next channel. We are wishing you well. Farewell. Whew. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that was amazing. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, Morgan. Definitely needed to hear that. I'm glad it got to you. You're welcome, guys. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad it was good. Whew. I'm not sure why they've been wanting me to end these lives so soon after doing these channels, and maybe it's just for my sake after going to the channel mode. But I want to say I so appreciate that this was good for you. You guys are so welcome. I always appreciate that I can do this, and I appreciate you guys. You guys rock, and I appreciate that I get to do this for you. Hawk just showed up. Heck yeah. Oh, I'm getting chills with that one. Did you drink some Destiny? I appreciate you. You rock. Oh, Fawn says you rock. That's funny. 2 Hawks. Heck yeah. You're not annoying, Destiny. You rock. You would a bomb. Ugh. Okay, so I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I got so emotional and cried. And that can happen with the channel messages, with the energetic transmission, the energy of it can cause a release or just, things to heal, energy movement. Okay, they are literally telling me I need to end it. So I'm going to leave you guys there. I'm wishing you the absolute best. I'll be back next week. Sending so much love, and may the universe bless you with whatever would be for the highest good for it to bless you with. And may the highest and best to occur. I will see you next week.